Alright guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. We have to update the tier list for TURs. Now, I think what I might do right here at the start, I'm still just looking at non-EZA DOKKANFEST TURs. People did seem like they were wanting me to mix EZA TURs and regular TURs, which I mean, I guess I certainly could. I don't think that this list is like so bad that it's like a huge deal, but I mean, I'll mention this right at the start of the video, and you guys can let me know if you'd like me to more so do that, which we could. I don't. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that, and then we'll talk about that later. All right, let's jump in. Here, let me get it a little bit more, no spoilers. Let's just jump right in real fast. Frieza is here at 10. Now, I mean, obviously, I tend, when it comes to, like, ranking like these, I usually don't like to go super crazy with units that, like, are coming up, but, like, we did get Bojack's details just a couple of hours ago, and, I mean, Bojack will work really well with Frieza. And Lord Slug, who just came out, I mean, this is the Lord Slug update, he works really good with Frieza. So, Frieza is not, like, a lot of times people don't, like, the game moves fast. If the character is not just, like, God right away, a lot of, like, there's not, like, a lot of times I'll see people, oh, this character's back. And it's like, no, they're not. Like, it's like when we're in, like, Legendary Frieza event level events, like, sure. And, I mean, I say that kind of mockingly, but even, like, I would refer to, like, the Supreme Magnificent Battle Blue Gogeta as, like, a Legendary Frieza event level fight. Like, it's just, like, not even close to what is going on in the Goku and Frieza fight, right? So it's like, characters like, coming back or, oh, they're finally fixed, it is very rare. And I don't think that's the case for this guy either. This guy, it came too late. I think he's a nice option on the team. And now, I mean, some of these restrictions, he's got space traveling warriors. Both Bojack and Slug are space traveling warriors. Terrifying Conquerors. Both Bojack and Slug are terrifying Conquerors. And we have the physical full power Frieza too, right? So it's like, Frieza is definitely in a much better spot where we have better characters around him. Now, all of the characters I just mentioned are not really slot 1. Slug can do it sometimes, but for the most part, not really slot 1. He's good. He's handy. But, he can be crushed by the big fights. But to be fair, so can most of the characters on this list. I feel like he deserved to be at spot 10 over Physical Rose. Physical Rose, turn 1 is definitely better than Frieza, which I do like a lot. Turn 1 matters to me quite a bit. But it's just, super bosses are just, like, dreadful. I can't even, like, they decided Rose need to be run on full super bosses, and guess what? Super bosses is, like, not even a team. I'm just gonna grab the next two, Dragon Fists and Hirudegarn. These guys are able to kind of just, like, maintain sitting in this position, because they're dodge characters. Now, obviously, we are definitely past dodge or die, but the point is that dodge characters, like Hirudegarn and Dragon Fist, they're gonna age better than non-dodge characters. It's just a simple fact of the matter, right? As bosses go, because, like, the Gogeta fight was, damn near the hardest fight earlier this year. Cell Max was also, that probably was number 1 once that came out, but, like, you look at that Gogeta fight, like, the gods, like, they're super in for, like, 700k, 800k turn 1. Blue Goku and Vegeta, they're super in for, like, 1.7 or something like that, and it's like, we have bosses that super for 4 million turn 1 now. Like, it's just, things move quickly. That's a huge thing for, like, Tech Vegeta. Like, Tech Vegeta can be just crushed early on. Like, these characters, they're designed for a certain snapshot of Dokkan's, like, lifespan. And then, like, things move on. Fights get tougher. Fights get nastier. Characters are getting better. But these two could hang on a little bit longer than characters that have guard or damage reduction type capabilities, because their whole gimmick is just not getting hit at all, right? I do kind of like them, but, I mean, obviously it's scary, but, like, they could get the job done for sure. Next we have Toppo. Damn, Toppo down to 7. Sheesh. But it's just, the same thing happens with Toppo. Toppo was so good. Unfortunately, global players will just pretty much never get to experience, like, when Toppo was really good when he first came out in April. But events get tougher, man. things get tougher, things get nastier. Now we're in kind of a spot where this is kind of a tough condition for him right here. There's conditions that you really feel, and conditions that are, I feel like, tend to get overstated by the community. This is one you feel. You feel this. Because, like, AJL Jiren is good, and Toppo is good. But, like, beyond that, it's just like, Like, what team are we running with, like, Gotenks on? Like, Special Pose is not a legitimate team right now. Like, we could run double Toppo and things could work well. I mean, we'd have Tech UI Goku, we'd have Evolution Blue Vegeta and stuff like that. But Toppo is just falling off a little bit. Toppo was a great defensive character earlier in the year. His defense just not really as strong. God Toppo is still really powerful right away, could tank anything. But, I mean, he quickly is going to start taking damage, man. Because it's, especially in slot 1, just having guard with 80% damage reduction, right? Like, it's like, at once he gets to, like, 60% damage reduction, he's taking millions of damage. It really is crazy. It's crazy how fast things move. I would say if like he didn't have a restriction on this right here, I do think he'd be significantly better. Like, if his intro just procced, I would probably move him up several spots. But this is an intro where, or condition where, we're running like LR Tech Jiren on the team, and then we lose because we're running LR Tech Jiren, right? Shit like that. So there's Toppo. Next we can get AGL Vegeta right here. I do feel like this guy's a little bit overhated. I mean, he's got some weird odds and ends to his kit, but I mean, it's important to note, I mean, we've talked a lot about restrictions already in this video, and he doesn't have restrictions. He's got none. Like, you could run this Vegeta on any team. Now, what he does need is orbs. Luckily, he does create his own orbs, though. But I've just found this guy, I would just say his power is undertuned. I think if you get rid of this bullshit right here, this is one of the worst abilities I've ever seen on a character, and I'm not exaggerating. This shit loses you runs. I'm so serious. Because this is a character that wants a ton of orbs around, and you can't really safely get him in slot 1. If you pop his active skill and he's got basically 50% damage reduction, 50% dodge, you could YOLO it, but like, you don't want to run this guy in slot 1. Him creating all key spheres to AGL does nothing but fuck up the orbs for the rest of the team. It's so obnoxious. I hate it. It's just so bad. If you take this alone, what's highlighted off of him, he's a significantly better character. Literally, just after he supers 5 times, you do this, right? Just remove what is highlighted right there. Just get rid of this. Well, here, let me just remove this, and this character is actually significantly better. It's actually like they have no idea what they're doing. Like, I'm not exaggerating. It's a terrible ability. It really hurts. He's good, but again, it's just like, it just feels like his stats are a bit low. I mean, it doesn't help that, like, all of the buffs for his team that, like, pretty much released were very weak as well. A lot of these characters came out during the celebration were just not quite as good as you'd like. A little bit finicky for a lot of them. But yeah, I mean, that's Vegeta. That's Vegeta. He does have a lot of defensive mechanics. He is creating rainbow orbs. I feel like this ability goes kind of underrated by a lot of the community. This shit is so good, rainbow orb changing, so just keep that in mind. Next we have Roshi. I do like Roshi. Roshi's pretty good. He's got, great supports and stuff like that. But I mean, he does have a lot of different hoops you have to jump through for sure, right? You got to make sure you have your 2 Turtle School allies on the team. Got to make sure you have a Peppy Gal on the turn. Got to make sure you have a Bulma on the turn. I mean, Roshi with his full passive up is quite an impressive character. But at the end of the day, he is going to sit in like slot 2 and slot 3. The impact of his support is really huge. But it's just his team, like, you're pretty much just running him on his team, And I mean, you're trading wins and losses because this guy cannot go in slot. He's just sitting in slot 2 or 3, and you're just like dodge or die characters: Kefla, Videl, Bunny Bulma, EJL UI, Tech UI. Like it's just all those characters' dodges have to be on point the entire run, or else you're done. You don't have a Beast Gohan, you don't have a Tech Carnival Broly, you don't have an LR Janemba, right? You don't have any of those characters on his team. Which can hurt him. So it's like I like him. I like his support. I think he could kind of settle into a role in like a little bit easier than like Toppo or Vegeta, but it can be a little bit tricky. But again, I that support he gives this plus also this is crazy, man. This is absolutely ridiculous, this support he gives. So definitely don't sleep on that. All right, next we get Tech Vegeta up right here. Tech Vegeta is very good. I don't really want to say that I feel like Tech Vegeta's really been overrated, but you will get these players who will talk about Tech Vegeta, and it's just like they just pretend like he can't just get killed instantly. It's odd. But that, like, he gets killed instantly. Even in the hardest fight in the game, Goku and Frieza, I mean, I like Tech Vegeta a lot in that fight. I think he's very good. But, I mean, he can just get completely fodderized by that fight because he shows up, locked in slot. Well, you probably put him in slot 1 anyway. 17 supers right away. 17 can do a lot of damage to this guy. 17 can seal this guy as well. This is a character, Vegeta's built quite a bit around stacking, which again is good for the Goku and Frieza fight, but 17, for some reason they allowed him to seal. So, like, I've had several runs happen where this Vegeta's been crushed by 17. Vegeta, you go into the Gogeta or Janemba fight, and he just gets blown away. I mean, if he's getting touched, really, like, he gets blown away by Gogeta and Janemba. He's good, but, I mean, it takes a little while before you get to this guy. And this guy is strong, but I mean, it can be a little bit iffy for him even maybe doing damage against Goku and Frieza. Situation matters. Like, if you have AJL Broly's domain up, that'll help. You throw the Big Bang, he's going to do guaranteed crits. And then, as he starts to do damage, he, of course, gets damage as the enemy is taking damage, right? I like Vegeta, but I don't feel like he's as good as the top 3. I will just point this out. I am mostly, as of these days, basing my assessment of characters on these fights. It's Super Janemba, Super Gogeta, Bulma, the hardest fight of the exciting hero battle, and then the Goku and Frieza fight. Those, I think, are the standard fights at the moment. And, I mean, Vegeta just gets clobbered in Gogeta and Janemba. At Goku and Frieza, I would say, like, probably 80% of the time, 75% of the time, you could get Vegeta to do really well against Goku and Frieza. He can crush that fight for sure, which matters a lot. And then Bulma, I think Vegeta is quite good for Bulma as well, because Vegeta is going to have a lot of additional supers, very good for her second phase, and Vegeta seals both in base and in Super Saiyan. Sealing can be really big against Bulma. I mean, again, people will talk about STR Bulma. Well, what I've noticed is that a lot of gold players, they just avoid fighting STR Bulma entirely, which, I mean, I guess is smart to just win, but, you can, like, stun her and seal her and shit like that at the end. I mean, as long as she doesn't just super instantly kill you, which I do. If Bulma just instantly supered, would she kill this guy? The situation would matter. Probably not, because in the Bulma fight, you'd be able to get a lot of stacks with this guy too, which is good. I like Vegeta, but I do think he's not really quite on the level of the other 3. We could just add all 3 in right here. Now, before we do this, I'm gonna say I think personally accept any order for the top 3. I do think so. I think you could rearrange them in any order. I have Boo at 3, Slug at 2, and Angel Super Saiyan 3, Goku at 1. But to me, I think it's very valid. Like, if you want to put Fat Boo at 1, I think it makes sense. Like, Fat Boo, it's so funny. I only see 2 camps with Fat Boo. The, like, ridiculous, like, memers who, are like, yeah, Fat Boo is, like, a top 4 unit in the game type shit, right? Because, you could revive with them, and then, second turn, you've got the Ghost Usher. He's just one of these meme characters, but, like, right now, he can really help. It's just, he's strong, man. I definitely am not going to be on the Boo denier side of history. I mean, I've been a Boo fan the whole time. I mean, he's got legit tech that he could do. But the thing is that Boo, I mean, there's more important things than offense, yeah. But Boo does mostly hit like a feather. So it's like Boo, while yes, I mean, he could revive and get you a turn. He could Ghost Usher. Boo does still need better characters to bring the fight home for him. Seriously. Because he will make no dent in these bosses with his damage. At tanking wise, for the most part, it's not really going to be a big factor because he's pretty much only going to be tanking. So, like, let's say turn 1 starts, he dies instantly, he revives, and then, you know, moving on for the rest of the fight. Tank-wise, I mean, he'd be okay in, like, slot 2 or slot 3, but he's not going to be in, like, the very problematic positioning, you know, against, like, Goku and Frieza or, you know, where Bulma is scariest or something like that. I like him, though. Slug is just really strong. Slug is pretty basic, but it's just like he's got great tanking. He does really solid damage for a DOKKANFEST TUR. He's just very powerful, right? Whereas, like, Vegeta has, like, better tools than Slug. I think he does. But Vegeta's, like, it's just, like, his stats are way lower than the Slug, right? Like, it's like, you could not tell that these guys are back-to-back releases because Slug is just on a different level of power, just in terms of his, like, what his defensive abilities are at, what his damage levels are at, right? Like, it's just different. Now, one thing not to lose sight of, though, chat, he does have a pretty big restriction. 3 demonic power category allies. You need that for Slug to be really good. And demonic power is not the best right now. I mean, because if you're running Beast Gohan, he is heavily nerfed by Slug's domain, right? Beast would be taking literally 25% extra damage. And I know you could just say, well, Beast doesn't take damage. He does. He will in some of these fights. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. So, like, that domain, if we're running Beast against, like, Gogeta or Janemba or some shit, or Goku and Frieza, I mean, you're going to feel that. So, we do need demonic power to get a little bit stronger. So, Slug on his own team, 2 Slugs, Angela and Metamaka, and then we run, like, Buhan. And I feel like that's very, very, very safe, works super well. But we need this to be a little bit stronger for Slug. Now, at Heroes characters, there's a very solid chance. A lot of these Heroes characters are going to have big bad bosses. A lot of them are going to be on demonic power. You know, like Meki Cabra, very good chance he could be useful. I think there's a good chance that we could see Slug looking pretty good with Heroes characters or Daima characters. But that's just something to keep in mind. Like, people, this is like the most downplayed character all year. Dude, guys, you understand he starts at 90% damage reduction, right? Like, you go back months, look at the way people talk about Tech Vegeta, who can get instantly killed, and Goku, who literally never fucking dies. Like, people just forget about this? Bro, I don't know. I don't know. Now, Goku also has a restriction. But again, Slug does have a tough one, too. This, I mean, is this worse than Slug? Maybe. Both are rough. This is probably worse than Slug. But this guy did get helped significantly by the fact that Carnival Gohan is Buu Saga. This was a huge boon towards that Goku. So, it works super, super well. You could run this guy very, very safely. He just doesn't take damage, man. It's like, people will cope for all these characters. Like, they'll get game overs with these characters and just make excuses for them. But then a character comes along who just never fucking dies, and people, all they want to do is criticize. Like, even, like, Int Broly, it's like, Int Broly has all these flaws all over his kit. Bad flaws, but you know what? He just never dies, man. Ever. Like, he never dies. Which matters. And that's why, like, I've skyrocketed Broly up my list. Because, like, at a certain point, if a character just doesn't die, they're super goddamn good. They're really contributing a lot. All right? Like, these fights, man. Angel Super Saiyan 3 Goku. This guy could go slot 1 against 17 and Golden Frieza. This guy could go slot 1 against, Gogeta, Janemba. Like, he's so good. Like 17 can't insta-kill this guy. right? Like, all that is a real factor. I don't know. This character, to me, is one of the bigger misses a lot of the community has had for most of this year. The way they talk about this guy. They just pretend like this guy, I don't know. I don't know. Like, they just talk about this Buu Saga restriction or something and act like that matters when he just can't take damage, man. I don't know. So, yeah. That's where I'm sitting at it. I do think you could pretty safely rearrange these three characters, though. Like, if you want to get Buu at 1, Slug 2, Goku 3, like, I could see it. I mean, Goku, damage-wise, I mean, his damage is not very impressive. He struggles to even damage Goku and Frieza. I mean, you definitely can easily get it done, but it's just on, like, a normal, natural run. He's probably not doing much damage to Goku and Frieza. But this guy is a god tank, which, I mean, that is, like, and slot 1 tanking. So, like, many characters can be good in slot 2 or slot 3, but show me the characters who we toss out in slot 1 and they're a god level tank, and that's what this guy is. Alright guys, and then finally let's see adjustments. I did feel like I needed to drop Toppo down a little bit. I feel like Toppo's restriction just hurts a little bit more. Dropping him down a little bit below Roshi and Vegeta seems good. But like, besides, yeah, I basically moved Toppo down a couple of spots and then swapped Frieza and Rose. That's the main thing. I do also think with the introduction of Slug and Bojack, Frieza is, I mean, I'm not going to put him above like Rudigarn and Goku or Vegeta or anything like that. But I do think I could kind of get Frieza on the same level as them. Because like Frieza can mesh very well with, again, Slug and Full Power Frieza and a lot of these characters and stuff like that. So I kind of feel like this looks good. So let me know what you guys think. Again, I think I really like this one. Yeah, this looks good. Slug is pretty good, man. Very, very, very strong character. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys next time.